Natureholics, welcome back again. Today, I'm uncovering the worst ever Arsenal 11. And I'm even going to name a long sub-bench to go along with them. In my times of being an Arsenal fan, we've had lots of great times, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? The Invincibles. Those times will forever be in my brain and my heart. However, we've also had a lot of terrible times as being Arsenal fans. That period with Wenger at the end, Arteta at the beginning, and even back in the day before Arsene Wenger, if you remember with George Graham. Yeah, we won games, but we were extremely boring and I couldn't even watch. Now, time to uncover the worst Arsenal 11 ever. In goal, I had two major suspects. It was either Almunia or Fabianski, but I did go with Almunia. It's almost like Almunia and Fabianski used to dip their hands in butter before they went out on the football field. Absolute butterfingers. Both of them were trash. Now, onto the defenders. At right back, this one is crazy. I don't even know how the fuck this guy made it pro, let alone playing for Arsenal. I'm sure this guy can't even do 20, 30 kick-ups. Every time watching him play or even take a touch, it was so painful. Honestly, he gave me confidence. Watching Carl Jenkinson play every single week made me feel like I was ready to play for Arsenal. Yes, Carl Jenkinson, absolute dunce. And you know, he wasn't the only sucker at right back. We had mans like Oleg Luzhny, who was fucking one of the worst players ever. But I think Carl Jenkinson was just that level worse than him. And before moving on, we also had one more right back that absolutely sucked. I'm not going to lie, he was a good friend of my cousin's. And I got a lot of free tickets from being connected to him. And you know, he was a cool guy in person, but on the field, I would never tell people I was connected with him. Because you know, that would make me a target. It was Eboué. Time for the centre-backs. And let me tell you, that's where the worst Arsenal players were ever, at centre-back. You see, I'm going to give you Gooners some nostalgia, but I'm also going to remind you guys of some traumatic experiences. Before I name the two worst centre-backs ever, I'm going to name you guys some other suckers that just about didn't make the list. It's three main culprits: Giroud, Squillaci, and Mustafi. But even worse than those three guys was this duo, Stefanos and Senderos. Mistake after mistake, couldn't make a pass, couldn't defend, so stiff. And even Senderos, like, his face was so dope, it's like he couldn't even see out his fucking eyes. Now I'm done with the centre backs, as that was the worst position out of Arsenal history. It's time to go on to the left backs. And the left back, the guy I'm putting at left back actually also played at centre back, but he was so terrible I had to give him his own position. It was Pascal Cygan. Pascal Cygan, again, like Carl Jenkinson, I'm pretty sure he can't even make 30 kick-ups. He couldn't kick the ball straight. He was so stiff. All he was good for was heading with that big bald head. And honestly, even though the second guy was terrible, Pascal Cygan was so bad that I couldn't maybe not even mention this guy, but he was bad as well. Andre Santos. Now let's leave those defenders who couldn't defend behind and move on to the midfield. In defensive midfield, we also had a lot of losers. We had mans like Diaby, who honestly wasn't a bad player, but he was injured literally like 95% of the time. It was pointless even having a player like that. So frustrating. He'd literally come back from injury and get injured at the next game. Absolutely pathetic.
I was born with glass bones and paper skin.
Another DM that was absolutely shit apart from making music with Lethal B was Frimpong. But he just about didn't make the worst 11 ever. However, for me, the three worst centre midfielders at Arsenal FC ever, in my opinion, was Gilles Grimandi, Matthew Flamini, and Denilson. And honestly, out of those three, probably Grimandi was the worst, which is crazy because he's actually one of our best scouts ever. He knows how to pick talent, but he's far from talented himself. In fact, once I went to watch an Arsenal game and Grimandi must have come on at like the 83rd minute, right? 7 minutes before the end. And this guy with his first touch ever goes and clamps down another player and gets a red card. That moment right there, I knew he shouldn't have been in the Arsenal team. Not just when he took touches, but that there just told you all about what his mind frame was like. Now let's get on to the wingers. The wingers are two guys that we bought that we thought were going to be something, right? One of them was a star from Russia, and the other one was from the Chelsea team, who was also meant to be a star from the Chelsea team. Absolute flops, both of them. One being Willian. Fucking hate that guy, and so do most Gooners. And on the other side, we have Arshavins. Yes, Arshavin. Absolute shite. And let me tell you a fun fact about Arshavin. So, as I told you guys before, I knew Eboué, right? So I used to always ask Eboué questions about the Arsenal team. And I asked him once, who was the weirdest guy at Arsenal Football Club? And he told me, yeah, Arshavin. And I said, why? And he said, well, basically the guy stinks, one. I said, all right, yeah, he stinks. After a football game, I guess, you know, he must smell. But even worse and more alarming than that, he told me that Arshavin used to pick his ass and smell it. And apparently a lot of the Arsenal team caught him doing this. Arshavin, bro, fucking do better. Not only was you a shit football player, not only did you smell of shit, but bro, you also wanted shit up your fucking nose. What's wrong with you? Fuck's sake. Yes, Arshavin, you suck. The only other winger that I can think of that was a flop, which honestly, he wasn't that bad. He got goals, he got a couple assists, but watching him play was literally like watching a Bambi play. He was very, very clumsy. It was Gervinho. I didn't think he was that bad, Gervinho, but you just about didn't make the team. I have to be honest with you. Now, let's get on to the strikers. Up front, we also had a lot of suspects, man. A lot of guys that couldn't even finish their fucking dinner. Couldn't score in a fucking brothel. Yet they were at fucking Arsenal Football Club. Unbelievable. Mans like Baptista, who honestly should have been in a gym bodybuilding. That's all he was good for. Sonogo. Yaya Sonogo. Yaya no go. No goals ever. Sonogo. How did that guy ever play for Arsenal FC, man? Unbelievable. Definitely one of the worst ever. But he's not my chosen chump. Lord Bentner. Embarrassed to have the same first name as this motherfucker. Nicholas Bentner. He claimed he was going to be the best football player ever. And you know, he came from royalty. He was married to like a royalty from Netherlands, from my understanding. Bro, you was a terrible footballer, man. You know, you played better for Denmark than you did for us. You sucked for Arsenal Football Club, man. Next up, absolute Shamak. Fucking Shamak. Another guy who was frustrating to watch. Couldn't hit net at all, ever. Poor. Wondering what he was even doing in the Premiership, let alone Arsenal. Cack. Next up, we have a guy we spent 75 million on. 75 million sterling. That's like near enough $100 million we spent on this fucking chump. And again, another guy who has the same first name as me. What's up with all these Nicholases, man? Embarrassing, letting man down. It was Nicolas Pepe. But with all these jokers, there was an original joker. The guy from Everton. The guy that, again, I was wondering, what's he even doing in professional football? Made me think that I was going to be the next Messi. Watching this guy play, I felt like I was already Ronaldinho. It was Francis fucking Jeffers. And yeah, man, Jeffers was terrible. And even though Wenger, for me, was one of the best managers ever, he did taint his legacy towards the end. But at the beginning of his career, the signings he made, the guys that he used to pick up for hardly any money. Remember, we bought Nicolas Anelka for hardly anything, or was it free? Then we sold him within a season for millions to Real Madrid. People like Patrick Vieira, which we signed for peanuts again. Absolute stars. Wenger made some of the best signings ever. But he also made some of the worst signings ever. It's just how it is. Now, Arsenal fans, what do you think of my worst 11 ever? Do you think I made a few mistakes there? Was there guys who you thought was worse than others? Let me know in the comments section. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.